Hello student, in today's class we will discuss the chapter motion and measurement. Motion and measurement. We will discuss today the types of motion. This will be our last class of this chapter. You must have seen many things which are in motion. For example, motion of car on a straight road. Motion of a dog walking on the road. Motion of soldiers while marching past. Motion of hands of clock. Motion of fan. Motion of blades of fan. Motion of swing. Motion of pendulum of clock. So these are various things which you observe around you that are moving. So these things have different type of motion. For example, motion of car on straight road is different than motion of fan, which is further different from the motion of swing. So we have a different type of motion. We will study today 5 type of motion. Motion is of 5 type. So one by one we will discuss here. First one is rectilinear motion. Rectilinear motion. A body is said to be in rectilinear motion if it moves along a straight road. For example, we have a car. Which is at position A, and after some time it has moved to position B along this straight road. So then motion of this car will be rectilinear motion. So this will be the example of rectilinear motion. If motion of car will be like this, car goes to B in east direction and then it turns and it moves in north direction up to point C. So this type of motion will also be rectilinear motion. rectilinear motion. Student can say here that ma'am has the direction of car has been changed, so this must not be rectilinear motion. But no, this is not the thing. Direction of object may be changed, but path must be straight line, so that we can say it is having a rectilinear motion. So for rectilinear motion, only the straight path is needed, not a particular direction, not motion in a particular direction is needed. Direction may changed. So example of rectilinear motion are motion of soldiers marching while marching past this type of motion is a rectilinear motion. Another example, motion of car on a straight road is also an example of rectilinear motion. Now moving with the next type of motion, that is our circular motion. A body is said to be in circular motion if it moves from one point to another point. If it moves from one point to another point in such a way that the distance between object and a fixed point about which it is moving, a fixed point is not changing. The distance remains same. Same, or we can say constant. Let us say we have a point O, that is a fixed point, and we have a body, show it by A. If this is the distance between body and a fixed object, if body moves in this way, that the distance between fixed point and body remains constant during whole motion. So this type of motion is called circular motion. Here OA remains constant. The distance between fixed point and body, that is our OA here, is called radius. Example of circular motion are motion of earth around sun, motion of blades of fan blades of fan, motion of hands of clock, hands of clock. So these are some example of circular motion. We will move to our next type of motion, that is rotational motion. Rotational motion. For explaining the rotational motion, we can see object as extended one. We does not say that point object is here. So we see the concept of extended object. Extended object means an object. What is extended object? Or a rigid body. We can say it a rigid body. Rigid body means a body made up of a number of particles. So to understand the rotational motion, you have to understand the concept of rigid body. A body which is made up of many particles, like this. These are many particles of which body is made up of. So rotational motion is what? In rotational motion, every particle of body in this we will talk about the every particle of the body is moving in a circle, about some axis, which is passing through the body itself. About an axis which is passing through the body itself. For example, let us see, this is a body having a particle having mass m1. You have to understand the concept of rigid body for understanding the rotational motion, in which you have seen a body is made up of a number of particles. Let this is one particle of body and mass of this is m1, and this particle moves in a circle about this axis. This axis is called axis of rotation. If we talk in this about the particle is in circular motion, but body as a whole is in rotational motion. If body is also moving, because every particle of it is moving in a circle, so body is also moving in a circle about its own axis. I am emphasizing on the point that its own axis, it is moving about its own axis. So when this type of motion is here, then this is called rotational motion. If we talk about motion of a particular particle here, then motion of particle is circular. Motion of particle is circular, but motion of body as a whole, but motion of body as a whole is rotational motion. The difference between circular motion and rotational motion will be more clear when we talk about the motion of a fan. Let us you have a fan. A fan is here, and this is the point about which fan moves. When we talk about the motion of fan as a whole, then fan is moving about the axis which is passing through the fan itself. So motion of fan as a whole is rotational motion. Motion of fan is rotational motion as a whole is rotational motion. But if we talk about the motion of blades, some part of the body, but motion of blades of fan is circular motion. Because axis of rotation, axis about which blades are moving is not passing through the blade. So blades of fan have circular motion. I think difference between rotational motion and circular motion must be clear to all of you. Now example of rotational motion. Rotational motion are motion of blades of fan, motion of blades of fan, motion of fan as a whole. Motion of fan as a whole is rotational motion, but motion of blades of fan is circular motion. Motion of wheel of bicycle. Motion of wheel of bicycle is rotational motion, but if we talk about the spikes of wheel have circular motion. If we talk about the part of a body which is in rotational motion, then that part is in circular motion. Motion of earth around its own axis. Motion of earth around its own axis. Its own axis is important. Its own axis is rotational motion. This is earth and this is its axis of rotation, and axis of rotation is passing through the earth. Axis of rotation passes through earth itself. So this type of motion is rotational motion. Two other types of motion, periodic motion and oscillatory motion, will be discussed in the next video. Thank you.